Hey everybody. Sorry I have been MIA for a while. Just doing all this teaching, schooling stuff and trying to work, and cooked way more than I've probably ever cooked in my whole life these last few months, but I wanted to check in. So you guys may remember that probably 2 weeks ago, I guess, I took a Saturday off and did a little online virtual conference, and it was on courage, but I wanted to share one of the things that I learned with you guys. So I believe we should never quit learning. Y'all have probably heard me say that. And so that's why I still go to conferences, and I'm always reading books, though much slower this year. And so there was this one speaker, and his name is Donald Miller. He was fantastic. I don't know how I'd never heard of him, but he's a storyteller, basically. And so on the business side of things, I think he helps with like marketing and branding, that kind of thing. But he talked to us about the 4 roles in a story. Excuse me, I don't know why I can't talk today. And I just found it really fascinating. And so I wanted to share this with you. And so again, not my original thought. I am just sharing what I learned from Donald Miller. But the 4 roles are the victim and the villain, the hero, and the guide. And so I'm going to start with the villain, but this makes so much sense in life and even in just the counseling aspect. So I wanted to share. So the villain's purpose is to make the hero look good, right? That makes perfect sense to us. So they have a backstory of pain, but their response to the pain usually becomes vengeance. So they lack forgiveness, they lack the ability to let it go, or they choose not to. The story usually ends when the villain dies. If you play the villain, you have minions, not friends. So that made me think of the, I just lost the name of the movie with minions. Incredible Me? Despicable Me. Is that what it's called? I should know that. So you have minions, not friends, and that you're basically controlling others. You are attracting an energy to oppose you and destroy you. So, this made so much sense. I think about people that are aggressive and maybe really angry all the time, really negative. I can see how all of that could play into, they just are playing the role of the villain in life. So, every story has to have a villain. But it never ends well for the villain. So even if temporarily it ends well, in the end, it doesn't end well, right, in the story. So, and let me just say, like, you don't have to only play one role throughout life. Like, you can change roles, and hopefully we will grow through these roles. But if you can avoid being the villain, I'm sure we've all been the villain at some point, but, you probably broke someone's heart. That's okay. We do that. The next role is the victim. I like this one. So this is a bit part, right? They exist to make the hero look good as well. So you can see where we're headed with the hero. But they're a prop for the villain to torture, right? Victims are people, there's no way out, right? Like, they don't become the hero usually. I mean, I can think of some stories where they could, but their part ends as soon as the hero looks good, right? Victims attract resources and maybe even a rescuer. But a victim never really transforms. There's no glory, and the story isn't part of that. So, you can think about people in your life that we even kind of talk about victimhood, or they're always playing the victim. Maybe the martyr would be a word we've used to describe people like this. People resent the victims because they're always sucking resources, right? Everyone stops what they're doing to go give them attention, to go help them out, to bail them out, whatever. But that gets old because the victim doesn't give, they only take. So you can think about different times in your life where maybe you have been a victim, and now maybe you want to shake out of that or transform. So I thought that was really interesting. So the villain and the victim are not roles you want to play long term. I think at some point we probably all play those roles, maybe even when we're younger and we're trying to make our way and figure things out, but those are not the roles you want to stay. Well, you might think, oh, well, the hero, that's what's next, right? Everyone wants to be the hero. Well, probably everyone wants to be the hero, but let's keep going. So you want to spend most of your time as the hero, right? This is where, you're courageous. Let's see, there's going to be ups and downs, right? The hero always gets knocked down. They always have to take a few punches. But their main characteristic is that they're acting in faith. They're running towards the glimmer of light. They believe in something. If it's the greater good, if it's the mission, I'm thinking of Avengers or whatever, there's a reason that they're fighting for this thing. They're holding on to hope. They don't sit down. They never rest. They always transform and end up better. They're proving everything to themselves, right? Like they're just trying to improve themselves all the time and prove to themselves they can do it. Their legacy is sacrifice, because a lot of times the hero does die, right? But it was for the greater good, or it was worth it because the impact they made, something like that. So you want to spend most of your time in life as the hero. But remember I said the guide? And not every story has a guide. But if you think about most movies that have a narrator, or even books that have a narrator, that's probably the guide, right? Like they're the one who is kind of ushering us through the story. So the guide has been a hero before, right? They know the way out. They are helping others. This usually happens with age. It's like a fine wine. You get better with age, right? So the guide is where you ultimately want to end up. They're trying to make all of the pieces come together and tell the story, but from that place of security. Like they know what happens already, and so they're helping give the story hope. So anyways, I just thought this was really cool, really fascinating. I'm trying to see if there's any other notes. This came from, well, he didn't specifically say it came from, but he talked about Cartman's drama triangle. And I don't know who that is, but and that is, he talks about 3 parts, like a villain, a victim, and a hero. But then he talked about a 4th voice, which Miller talked about. That would be the guide. But it says courage is playing the hero so you can become the guide. So the conference was on courage, but I thought that was really cool. So the ultimate goal is not just to be the hero, but to be, once you're the guide, you're kind of like outside of the story. And I really liked that because it's having that hope and being able to usher others through it. So I just wanted to share that with you. I thought that was really cool. Again, his name is Donald Miller. I started following him on social now, just to see if he had any other like cool tidbits. But I thought that was really, really neat. And I hope that you got something out of that as well. But anyways, I hope you guys have a great day. I will post this up on the website here soon. But just think about, are you playing the victim or the villain? And if so, how can you stop that and move towards the hero so that ultimately you can be the guide, right? So if you are struggling with feeling like the victim, how can you become empowered yourself and not have to use the resources of others all the time? If you're the villain, how can you, just watched the last Star Wars movie the other day, how can you be like Kylo Ren and just be Ben and, put down all the anger and resentment, and how can you come back to the good side, come back to the light, and, help the hero not be an adversary, but really Because again, the hero is how we get to being the guide. The villain is just gonna die. So just think about that. And if you're already at the hero stage, what are you doing to work towards getting to become a guide? And I hope that just rings a bell with you. I just thought it was really neat. I'd never heard anything like that. So y'all have a great day. I'll see you later.